I'm about to share with you a simple but powerful technique that's been very popular with my executive coaching clients. They tell me it reduces stress and improves their relationships. Watch this video and you'll be able to save time and get more done. Plus, in sales particularly, you'll make more money. My technique is called the conversation contract. I use it for better telephone calls, face-to-face meetings, sales calls, and when I conduct classes. In fact, I'm using it right now. I'll describe the 3 simple steps, demonstrate the conversation contract in action, and direct you to a totally free website where you can get more examples and a printable graphic reminder of the steps. All this in less than 15 minutes. Ready? Have you ever been frustrated by a conversation or walked out of a meeting thinking, we just weren't on the same page, or I wish I'd known we were going to talk about that? It happens all the time, right? Using the conversation contract will prevent those situations. This technique can even stop it in the moment, right when it is threatening to ruin your meeting. My conversation contract is based on a procedure created by therapists to help people get good results in what would otherwise be stressful conversations with teenagers, spouses, or a difficult boss. In my work with chief executives, salespeople, and top managers over more than 15 years, I have refined the conversation contract into this easy-to-remember 3-part format. Agree on mutual outcomes, clarify the process, and settle on the times. Start your work on a conversation contract by getting clarity and agreement on the outcomes desired by everyone in the meeting. Clearly, the details of the outcome are going to be created in the conversation, not while contracting for the meeting. What we can do is characterize the result we are interested in. If the outcome is a project plan, for example, we might contract to set broad milestones or insist on refining every task on the Gantt chart. You'd want to know which outcome is expected before you walked into that meeting, right? For a conversation that's part of a sales process, we might agree that at the end of the meeting, we'll have enough information to make a solid go, no-go purchase decision, or just be ready to move on to the next level of authority. As a salesperson, or even a prospect, these outcomes make for very different meetings, right? Reaching agreement on the outcome gets everyone on the same page and productive. Get clear about the outcome you're working together towards, whether it's a decision, a document, or even a dance. The outcome may even be, it often is, another conversation contract for a future meeting. If outcome is the why, the process step is the who, what, where, and how. To achieve your agreed outcome, who needs to be there? A person with particular expertise or authority? Maybe someone needs to be invited for political or social reasons. Think it through in advance, together. What do you need? A projector, a whiteboard, the budgets, a floor plan, an engineering drawing, samples, a prototype, maybe just lunch. Where should the meeting be? Do you need a quiet place free of interruptions or just a hallway moment? Are you flying to a conference center or just talking by telephone? How are you going to conduct the meeting? Is it informal, or will you have an agenda and a facilitator? Are we announcing a policy, looking for a consensus, or are we taking a vote? Maybe just brainstorming. Hey, the choices are easy to make because you've already agreed on the outcome. Everyone knows why we are meeting. We've handled the why of your meeting in step 1, the outcome. The process covers the who, what, where, and how. That only leaves one thing, the whens. The third and final step in our conversation contract is the time. This sequence may seem odd since most people start with the time when they set a meeting. Are you open for a meeting at 10 o'clock on Friday? But why would you agree to a meeting without knowing its purpose, the intended outcome? Why would you want to make time for a meeting that does not have a clear process? One that gives you confidence that the time will be well spent. Now that you've learned about the conversation contract, you're much less likely to walk into these time traps. Before you commit your precious time, an irretrievable slice of your life, gently back up, talk about the intended outcome, and process until you all agree on the why, the who, what, where, how, and then, only then, the whens. Process is power. Invest time early to get process agreement. You'll save piles of time later. This is called the slow, fast method. Go slowly, setting up your process, and then you can safely go fast doing the process, like a well-tuned race car that is totally prepared before the big event. Respecting a solid process doesn't take time. It makes time. Years ago, I brought my most junior associate along to a meeting with a client and his staff. About 20 minutes into the meeting, I could feel the energy level in the room was dropping, and we just didn't seem to be getting anywhere. Well, before I could think of a solution, my young consultant said, "Excuse me for jumping in, but it occurs to me that we did not review our conversation contract at the beginning of the meeting. Should we do that now?" Well, she was being polite. I had forgotten to set a conversation contract at all when I set up that meeting. Well, it was as though someone had stopped and turned the lights on in that meeting room. I quickly got an agreement on an outcome, confirmed that the right people were in the room with the appropriate documents, and that we had adequate time to do our work. Everyone got focused, and we flew through the agenda. Remember, conversation contracts are not just set and forget. Review your conversation contract at the start of the meeting, and, for longer meetings, after each break. Even if no conversation contract was set before the meeting, you can start the meeting by negotiating one. The seconds invested in confirming the process can save hours of unproductive meeting time. Even for people who use all 3 steps of my conversation contract triangle, there's one common mistake, and it can cost.